Hey everyone, Brian Lagunas here, and in today's video, I thought I'd try something a little different. Now, usually I answer a tech question of some sort, right? Someone asks a question, I show the question, and then I answer the question with a video, and it works pretty nicely. But sometimes the question requires more detail. More detail that you can't really get by using comments. This happened recently on a video I previously posted, and his name was Rahul Mathew. Basically, he started out with a simple question, hey, could you make a video using an item template and a custom control where the items are dynamically using the region adapter? Right now, it only works with the list box. If I hard code the data using XAML and it displays in the items control, else it won't display anything, although the items property has the data. Please. Well, as you can tell just from that, it's like, well, there's not a lot of context there. Like, I can't really answer that question or do a tech video, right? A tech question video on that, because I don't know really what your problem could be. And that's a very specific, I don't even understand the scenario in general. So I had a thought, Matthew, why don't you just provide a link to a GitHub repo that has the code you're having a problem with? And then I'll check it out and I'll see if I can fix it for you. So that's exactly what I'm doing in this video. Like I said, I'm going to try something new. I might even make this a series like Brian fixes your problem, or I'll fix your code, or I'll fix it, or I don't know. I haven't come up with a name yet. So instead of answering just tech questions, I'll fix your code. Well, maybe I'll just call it that. Maybe I'll just call it I'll fix your code. Whatever I call it, I thought it might be fun to try something new. And if you think this is something you'd like to participate in, why don't you go ahead and subscribe to my channel, like this video, leave a comment below with a link to your GitHub repo. Preferably, that repo will have a README file, which has a very clear description of the issue and a very simple, like the bare minimum to duplicate or replicate the issue in the code, in the repo. And then I'll check it out and I'll make a video on how I fix it. If this is something you'd like to do, well, let's find out. I don't know. We'll give it a try. What do you think? Anyways, this will be the first video in the I'll Fix Your Code series. So, without further ado, roll that intro. All right, so I opened up GitHub using the URL that Matthew provided. I'm now going to download his code as a zip file locally. I probably should just fork it and commit directly, but you know what? Let's just do it this way. I'm going to go ahead and show this in the folder. I'm going to right-click, Properties. I'm going to remove the mark of the web. Hit this little unblock there. Let me just get kind of in the way there. Hit the unblock, hit OK. Now let's extract the application. This is where the fun begins. I'm going to go ahead and open this up in Visual Studio, and let's see what we're working with. All right, so it seems we have a pretty full application here. Looks like it's kind of nicely structured. We have some modules. So this is definitely a Prism application. I can tell just by looking at these modules here. Looks like navigation panel is going to be our startup project. And let's open up the shell here and see what we have going on. It seems that we have some comments here, which is great. So it seems that we're trying to use a navigation panel as a region in Prism. So let's go ahead and build this and just make sure everything kind of works as is. Okay, so let's run the application and let's just see what happens. Let's see what we're supposed to see. So it looks like we have mail and contact. We have two items listed in this application. According to the documentation here that we have, hard coding it works. This does not work. Okay, so what is this? Let's go ahead and uncomment this code here. And we'll go ahead and run it and just verify that that doesn't work. And as you would see, that we don't have the same thing. Okay, so we're supposed to have mail and contact listed here as well. Our job is now to figure out why we're having these issues. Now, this is a Prism application, and they're trying to use the navigation panel as a region. If you're not familiar with Prism, I suggest you check it out, prismlibrary.com. I'll put a link in the description. Essentially, what we're trying to do is he's trying to use the navigation panel control as a region, which essentially what's going to happen is at runtime, we're going to inject items into the items collection. So this right here is the same thing that's going to happen at runtime using a region. Now, for that to happen, a few things have to be true. First, we have to make sure this is a supported control out of the box. So I'm going to go to the definition, and it's an items control. So yes, this is a supported region out of the box. I'm going to go ahead and fix this because that's kind of bothering me a little bit. I want to be able to see what I'm working with here. Okay. So the next step is, okay, let's look at the modules. Okay, first let's look at the modules. This is the module info, excuse me, the module init that he's calling it. Seems we don't have a build here, so let's start by doing that. Let's make sure we build our modules, both of them, since there's two. And I'm going to look at the initialize, and looking at this, I can already tell you, Matthew, you need to upgrade to Prism because this looks like a very old version of Prism. Very old. But you know, this looks good. He's registering a view with a region. Basically, he's saying, hey, whenever the navigation section region is ready, go ahead and inject this view into it. So if you look back at the shell and it says the region name of this control is the navigation section region, that's the region we're going to be injecting that view into. So let's look at the module mail module, excuse me, the mail module init. Same thing, pretty boilerplate, nothing fancy going on there. So that seems to be working okay, but let's make sure that these are being registered properly. Oh yeah, very old. We're using a bootstrapper here. Just so you know, Matthew, this does not exist anymore. It's going bye-bye. So if you upgrade to Prism 8, it's not there. So what are we doing here? Module catalog. So using a directory module catalog. Oh, so that means there's going to be some type of build event here that copies. Yep. Okay, so this build event is copying the assembly into the executing directory. So what I want to do is I want to open this up in File Explorer, and I want to make sure that the modules are there. And the modules are there, so that's working as expected. Well, hold on. Let's really test this. I need to make sure, I need to verify that the modules are being created. Okay, so I'm just going to hit a breakpoint. Actually, will that work? Will that work? I'm not sure if that's going to work because we're doing module directory catalog. Oh, it does work. Perfect. Okay, so the modules are being created. So why else is that not working? That seems interesting to me. Wow, this would work and this would not. So it's not a Prism issue. Everything's wired up properly. I think it's a control issue. Let's look at the user control itself. Where does this exist? Office controls project. Okay, so if we go into the office controls project, here's the navigation panel. Let's just take a look at this. Pretty basic. Looks okay. Okay, now right here. Here's the themes. So if you look at the generic as an items presenter, so that's good. You got to have an items presenter. We also have a navigation section component. This content control, that looks okay. So this is going to tell me now, okay, let's debug this a little more. Let's go back to the views and make sure that this is a navigation section. And it is. This is a navigation section control that he's trying to inject into the view. Very interesting. Why would that not work? So we have a generic... Oh! I know why it won't work. I know exactly why it won't work. Your custom controls, your custom control project here. Actually, I'm in the way. So let me hide myself real quick. Right, so the office controls project here is missing the generic file. But you're going to say, Brian, the generic file is right here. Well, yes, it is. But it's in the wrong spot. It needs to be in the themes folder. You're outside the themes folder, okay? So what this tells me is that this shouldn't work at all. Like, I should not even see a navigation panel working at all. This leads me to believe that you've added code somewhere else to even get this to show up. So I'm going to look at your app.xaml because I don't see anything in the window. I have a feeling in your app.xaml, you are manually adding the generic resource files for your user control or your custom control. And this should not be required at all. This should have been the first red flag that something was wrong, right? So if I remove that, now you see that? Now it doesn't work because the templates of the components aren't being found, right? It's neither one of them are working. So that should have been your first red flag. Now, what this tells me is here, I'm gonna minimize all of this. I should be able to just drag this into the themes folder, not make any more changes, just drag that into the themes folder. Let me hide myself because my head was covering that. All I did was I took this generic file and I dragged it into the themes folder. See that? Now it's within the themes folder. So now if I run this, it should work just fine. So let that run, it's on the other screen, and bam, there it is. That's the fix. Matthew, I fixed your code.